Welcome everybody to Forza Horizon 5, and today we're taking a look at the 1986 Lamborghini LM002. Now this was produced between 1986 and 1993, with 328 being made. It was initially conceived as a military vehicle, codenamed Cheetah, but due to a series of events it was eventually became a civilian production only vehicle. It was unveiled at the Brussels Auto Show in 1986, where it was dubbed the Rambo Lambo. And yeah, a few interesting features on this. Pirelli were commissioned to make the tyres that had a run flat tread design, so basically they could run virtually flat without any risk of them, falling off the rim or anything like that. And yeah, also has a 5-speed manual, aluminium body panels, and a 169 litre fuel tank, which in today's prices in the UK would come to around £245, which is, yeah, quite a lot. And you'd be refueling it a lot as well due to its engine, which we'll look at in a minute. But let's look at the interior now. Despite having such a large body, it's only able to seat 3 passengers plus the driver. And yeah, the interior is, despite being such a large vehicle, really rather cramped. You've got an awfully positioned gear stick there, and then you've got 2 gear levers down here for something to do with the all-wheel drive system or diffs or anything like that. And yeah, you're about a mile away from your passenger, you're about half a mile away from your gear stick, and yeah, if you're under 5'5" or something like that, you're not even going to be able to see over the steering wheel because of how low down you are. So yeah, not particularly well engineered in terms of people inside. And yeah, as a a rear passenger, then yeah, you got a decent amount of leg room, but there's not exactly much else going on in here at all apart from the electric windows and some air conditioning. So yeah, hardly a ergonomic design, and also gets worse in the fact that there's no actual boot. It's just a pair of side seats, or 4 seats in fact, for anyone extra that you want to carry along, but no boot whatsoever, which is rather inconvenient. But at least you get a full-on spare tyre. But yeah, talking about that fuel tank, you'll need all 169 litres, as yeah, this has the 5.2 litre V12 engine from the Lamborghini Countach, producing 450 horsepower and 369 pounds-feet of torque, which is a decent amount of horsepower. But for a car that has aluminium body panels and no rear, boot space, it still weighs a massive 5,952 pounds, which is a huge amount. And yeah, as you'll see when we get out on the open road, it doesn't shift as a result at all that much. But yeah, nonetheless, let's get out onto the open road and see what this car can do. So yeah, we're going to drag strip it first, and then we'll go on the off-road course that's at the end of the drag strip. So yeah, let's see what this 450 horsepower car can do. Not that much, because yeah, this is pretty much Lamborghini's first all-wheel drive civilian vehicle. So yeah, I really feel like they didn't have the technology put down, so it's got really poor launch, really long gears, and yeah, it's not particularly quick as a result. Does at least sound like no other off-road vehicle out there, but yeah, it's not a particularly good one in terms of outright acceleration. What it is good at though is in terms of being off-road capability, because obviously it's got the all-wheel drive system, it's got the high ground clearance, big chunky tyres, and yeah, at slower speeds it's pretty good, especially when it comes to flat surfaces and anything like that. But I think the engine is completely wrong, the wrong kind of engine for this kind of car. Because yeah, not only does it have really long gears, and that isn't good on any off-road vehicle, but then it has very minimal amount of torque. V12 engines generally do have minimal amount of torque, especially naturally aspirated ones, and yeah, as a result it does feel like it would struggle up any steep inclines, especially ones that don't have all that much in the way of traction, because it's got to lug that massive amount of weight up any kind of incline, and I just don't think it has the right amount of torque to really make mincemeat of anything else out there, especially in comparison to other off-road vehicles from the time. So yeah, and it gets worse because the acceleration isn't particularly good. 0 to 16 is 6.7 seconds, which probably made it the fastest off-road vehicle at the time, but 0 to 100 takes 20.6 seconds, and it goes into a top speed of 142. Although that top speed is fine, considering how much of a high centre of gravity vehicle this is, and even more so when you consider it doesn't particularly handle all that great. The handling just isn't, you know, all that responsive. You've got a massively heavy engine up front, and those big chunky tyres do not make it the most agile of things. Just makes it harder to turn, and yeah, it's just not all that satisfying to drive. I do like the fact it's on Forza games. It's been on Forza games for a very long time, but yeah, Lamborghini would eventually do better with the Urus. Even though I have my reservations about that car, they would definitely do a better job with that car in terms of off-road vehicles. But yeah, I'm glad this didn't sell well at the time, because it might well have made Lamborghini go down that route a lot sooner, and yeah, might have sabotaged some of their supercar chances. So yeah, not the worst car I've ever driven on a Forza game, but it's far from the best, and definitely one that I am, like I said, glad didn't, you know, go any further than only a few hundred being made, because yeah, it's not great. And the likes of Range Rover and Jeep were definitely doing better off-road vehicles at the time, even though this does have, you know, the outlandishness about it going for it. But it's not even a particularly great looking car either, which, considering it's Lamborghini, that would have been the least that you would have expected from it. But yeah, doesn't even manage to nail it on the look. So yeah, overall not a brilliant car, but since it is one that I have not reviewed yet, and you know, like I said, it's been in several Forza games before, I thought it was high time to at least show it off to some degree if you haven't tried it before. But yeah, it's not a car I'd recommend, you know, going out immediately buying, especially in comparison to other off-road vehicles on this game. But nonetheless, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.